I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya. COVID-19 rates continue to rise both locally and across the state. John Arking reports.
Flagler County Emergency Manager Jonathan Lord gave an update on COVID-19 at Monday's Flagler County Commission meeting. He began by giving some statistics. As of Sunday afternoon, there were 2.3 million tests conducted statewide, with approximately 89% negative and 10% positive. There are now 269,000 cases in Florida, which he said was an over 190,000 case increase since their last meeting 3 weeks ago. And that same trend was also seen locally.
We currently have 493 cases of COVID-19. That's 286 since your last meeting. So the majority have occurred since your last board meeting, of which 484 of them are Flagler residents. 43 of them have been hospitalized. 5 have died. Luckily, of all the things that have changed, that number has not changed in our community. And just like the state of Florida, 8% of those cases are in long-term care facilities or in correctional institutions. The bulk of them have been staff, not patients. Our overall cumulative positive rate remains under 4%. Compared to a state rate of just over 10%, so the cumulative rate since this all started. So our community is doing much better. I think our residents are taking this very seriously and following that CDC guidance, and that really helps, and I think that is being seen in the overall positivity rate in our community.
Lord says that daily testing in Flagler County has significantly ramped up in the last week and that the overall positivity rate has been under the statewide average of over 10%, but has been edging closer as of late. He says the testing site at Daytona State College remains open on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and they will keep the site operational as long as the demand remains high. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arkin.
Flagler County shares its plans to distribute CARES Act federal funding. Tony Magoo has the details.
Local businesses and individuals financially impacted by the coronavirus pandemic will soon be able to apply for financial relief from the county's $20 million in CARES Act funding. Individuals and businesses can apply for financial assistance through the county's website, flaglercounty.org. The Small Business Grant Program is going to invest in the community, and with us this morning is Flagler County Tourism Director Amy Lukasik to discuss the dispersal. Amy, how much do you have to spend?
We're going to do a total investment of $10 million into the community.
Tell me about the demographics.
These are small businesses that have employees of 100 full-time equivalent or less.
How does that break down?
So it ranges from a sole proprietor and a 501c3 all the way down to businesses that have 100 employees. And the funding is going to be based on how many full-time equivalent employees a business has.
Amy, what are your dollar allotments?
So it ranges from $3,000 up to $50,000.
For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
A special election will ultimately be held in Palm Coast this November to replace City Councilman Jack Howell, who abruptly resigned last week. But Council will appoint an interim replacement for Howell by majority vote on August 4th. They're meeting next week virtually to discuss the vacancy procedures and the election. But what we know, if you want to run, you'd have to qualify by September 4th. Howell, who's 77, stepped down citing health concerns. He has cancer surgery later this month. The retired U.S. Marine colonel served less than 2 years of his 4-year term.
If we can't get this logjam broken within the next couple of weeks, this is essentially a dead project.
County Administrator Jerry Cameron says a vital project to secure the dunes in Flagler County will not move forward unless certain residents allow the Army Corps of Engineers to make improvements on their property.
If in their own interest or in the civic interest, they are unwilling to cooperate with what is a very beneficial project, I think that we're essentially dead in the water.
So far, 126 owners have signed, but 15 are holding out. County Attorney Al Hadid called this an issue of fairness.
Many owners who have signed easements know that there are people asking for money. So they're a little bit concerned, expressions from people that we would pay money to folks who just simply were the holdouts at the very end, hoping that they could essentially extort us into writing checks.
Commissioners have agreed they won't be paying any of the holdouts. If it happens, the project will be paid for entirely with federal dollars, approved due to damage the dunes sustained in Hurricane Matthew.
Masking or distancing, which is right in our schools?
Flagler County Schools Superintendent Kathy Middlestat says maybe both.
We already had in place in our guidelines about wearing masks when you could not achieve social distancing. So we're in line with everything, and we continue to work with the health department on what is the right thing for us.
Middlestat said that social distancing is possible by moving desks and spacing students in a line.
We're going to have to work with our instructors and our teachers so we understand different different routines on how you come into a classroom and take your seat and where the spacing is for the teacher.
With that, Superintendent Middlestat said that teachers will mask up, but not for all lessons.
Having a facial covering on them, depending upon their curriculum while they're trying to deliver that instruction, is just not feasible. So we want to make sure we're creating the right amount of space to be able to facilitate that particular lesson.
Don't forget school starts on August 10th. To listen to more of Kathy Middlestat, download the Flagler Radio app and then go to the Free for All Friday podcast. Tomorrow, temperature checks at school. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.